All right, let me paint you a picture real quick. You're chilling in your podunk hometown, minding your own business, when out of nowhere, bam, a glowing UFO streaks across the sky and crashes into the hills. Fuck. Do you grab a flashlight and go check it out? Or do you GTFO in the other direction? Well, back in 1952, a bunch of people in Flatwoods, West Virginia, decided to investigate. And holy shit, they wished they hadn't done that. Picture this, an eerie-ass mist creeping through the trees, a smell so rank it would knock a buzzard off a shit wagon, and then glowing orange eyes staring at you through the darkness. And that's not all. This thing, this monster, is fucking massive. It's got a spade-shaped head, metallic claws, and it's tall enough to deny any basketball player. What the actual fuck, right? Some people swear it was an alien. Others think it was some kind of cryptid, maybe even a demon. But here's the kicker. Nobody really fucking knows, even to this day. The stories haunted this small town for over 70 years, and every theory just makes it weirder. UFOs, glowing eyes, creepy-ass funky mists. Whatever it was, it's the stuff of nightmares. One thing's for goddamn sure. The truth? It's stranger than any fiction you've ever heard. So hold on tight, because this ride is about to get wild as hell. Flatwoods, West Virginia. Population? Tiny as shit. 230 as of the 2023 census. This little town in the middle of nowhere was the kind of place where nothing ever fucking happened. It was peaceful, quiet, and absolutely boring as hell. But all that changed on September 12, 1952. That's when Flatwoods went from being a sleepy dot on the map to the epicenter of one of the weirdest, creepiest, and most batshit insane encounters in history. It all started when a group of local kids were out playing. You know, just doing regular 1950s kids shit, like throwing rocks and running around the woods. Then, out of nowhere, they see this bright-ass glowing object streak across the sky and crash into the hills nearby. Naturally, these kids, being braver or dumber than most, ran to grab some adults to check it out. And that's when shit got real. Kathleen May, a local mom, and a few other grown-ups joined the kids and headed up the hill to see what the hell was going on. When they got there, they didn't just find some regular crash site. Oh, hell no. They found a glowing mist, a smell that could have knocked over a goddamn horse, and, wait for it, a monster. A fucking monster staring at them from the shadows. Was this an alien visitation? A secret government experiment gone completely off the rails? Or just a big-ass case of mass hysteria fueled by panic and small-town gossip? Honestly, who the fuck knows? But one thing's for sure, that night changed Flatwoods forever. And if you think this shit's wild now, just wait. We're only getting started. This wasn't the only sighting. Let's dive the fuck into this craziness. It was a cool, crisp fall evening on September 12, 1952 in Flatwoods, West Virginia. a secluded town in the low-timbered Appalachian hills of central West Virginia. At 7:15 p.m., two brothers, Ed, 13, and Freddie May, 12, and their friends, Tommy Heyer, 10, and Neil Nunley, 14, were playing in a schoolyard near their home. Out of fucking nowhere, a bright red light streaked across the sky overhead and appeared to crash into a hillside on G. Bailey Fisher's farm. The boys, being brave or dumb, wanted to see what it was they saw in the sky. The Mays' home was on their way, so they stopped to tell their mother, Kathleen May, what they had seen. Kathleen called on National Guardsman Eugene Lemon and the family dog Richie to accompany her and the boys to the crash site. They pressed on because, apparently, curiosity trumps common sense every damn time. Now, this wasn't some quick jaunt up a little hill. This was a quarter of a mile uphill the whole goddamn way in the West Virginia mountains. They trekked their asses up there, flashlights in hand, not knowing what the fuck they were about to walk into. As they got closer, the air started to get weird, like really fucking weird. When they got near the site of the crash, they saw a pulsing red light shining on the trees above. Lemon shined his light up on the hill and the whole group saw it. Holy fucking shit, did they see it. Standing there in the eerie-ass glow of the mist was the Flatwoods monster. This thing was straight out of your worst fucking nightmares. Imagine something towering at around 10 feet tall. That's not just tall, that's duck your head to get into the barn tall. Its eyes glowing orange like two burning coals that look straight into your goddamn soul. And the head? Oh man, the head was shaped like a fucking spade, almost like it was wearing a hood or some kind of fucked up helmet. The body, solid red and mechanical as hell, with these long, metallic, twisted, claw-like arms that looked like they could shred you in seconds. It was levitating several inches off the ground. It was wearing what looked like a green pleated dress with a glint, like it was made of metal. And it didn't just look terrifying. The atmosphere around it was like a scene from a fucking horror movie. In the air was this thick, glowing green mist swirling around the creature, almost like it had brought its own creepy-ass fog machine from another planet. The mist reeked of sulfur and metal, a smell so nasty it made folks gag and feel sick as hell. Witnesses said the air itself felt fucking wrong, like it was heavy with something unnatural. As Lemon approached it, the creature let out a blood-curdling hiss and started gliding toward the witnesses. Needless to say, that was enough to send everyone scrambling down the hill in terror. The group didn't stick around to take a fucking selfie. They ran like hell back down the hill, screaming, gasping, and choking for air. One of the boys peed his pants. The dog ran with his tail between his legs. Once they got to safety, they immediately started telling everyone what they'd seen. And that's when the story blew the fuck up. Some of the members of the group suffered from throat irritation, vomiting, and nausea, which went on for days. These symptoms were blown off as nothing more than side effects of hysteria. But it's worth noting that doctors later stated that these are also the telltale signs of exposure to mustard gas. May and Lemon reported the encounter to state police, who searched the area that night and claimed to find nothing. Of course. Now, how did this fucked up looking beast get its name? Well, after the sighting, the story spread like wildfire through Flatwoods and the surrounding areas. People started calling it the Flatwoods Monster, which is pretty much on the nose since the monster sighting went down in Flatwoods. Others called it the Braxton County Monster, because Flatwoods is in Braxton County. It's also been called the Green Monster, Braxy, and the Phantom of Flatwoods. Either way, the name Flatwoods Monster stuck, and now this creepy bastard is infamous. As you can imagine, the town's reaction was a mix of sheer terror and complete confusion. Some folks were convinced it was a goddamn demon sent to wreak havoc and scare the shit out of everyone. Others thought it was an alien, a visitor from another world that maybe got stranded after its UFO crash landed. Then you had the skeptics who thought the whole damn thing was either a prank or some kind of mass hysteria. But let's be real. When you've got glowing eyes, metallic claws, and a stench that makes people want to puke, it's hard to chalk that up to someone's imagination. One thing's for sure. Whatever happened in Flatwoods that night left a permanent mark on the town. To this day, people still talk about the monster like it's a local legend, because it fucking is. The Flatwoods Monster isn't just a piece of folklore. It's a reminder that sometimes the weirdest shit happens in the most unassuming places. Ain't that the fucking truth? The media caught wind of the story, and before long, Flatwoods was on the map as the site of one of the most bizarre encounters in UFO history. UFO investigators, journalists, and curious thrill seekers descended on the town, all trying to figure out what the hell had happened. This wasn't the only encounter of the Flatwoods Monster. There were sightings of this fucker before and after this encounter. Not long before the infamous shit show on Fisher's farm, there was another sighting of a creature that sounded eerily similar to the Flatwoods Monster. This time, it came from Miss Audra Harper, who came face to face with the creepy bastard while walking through the goddamn woods near her home in Heaters. Now, Heaters is about 5 miles north of Flatwoods, and if you're wondering, what the hell was she doing out there? Let me break it down. Harper and her friend were hoofing it to a nearby store, but the road leading off their property was a total clusterfuck, rutted out and impossible to walk without busting an ankle. So they decided, fuck it, and cut through the forest to save time. Big mistake. About a half-mile into their shortcut, shit started to get weird. The two of them noticed a ball of fire lighting up one of the hills they were passing. Harper, trying to keep it cool, shrugged it off. She figured it was just one of her neighbors out fox chasing or some other backwoods nonsense. But when she glanced back, that fiery ball of light was gone. And in its place was something that damn near made her shit bricks. A tall, dark man-shaped figure looming in the distance. The only natural response to that kind of freak show? Fart and run for your fucking life. Harper and her friend hauled ass, scrambling over rocks and boulders like their lives depended on it, which, let's be real, it probably did. Whatever the hell they saw back there, it scared them enough to put some serious distance between themselves and that hillside. So, yeah, Mrs. Harper's encounter may not have gotten the same level of fame as the Fisher Farm incident, but it's yet another piece of this batshit puzzle. Makes you wonder, what the hell was stalking the hills around Flatwoods that week? The day after that weird September 12th dumpster fire in Flatwoods, another bizarre-ass encounter went down near Strange Creek, about 20 miles south of Flatwoods. George and Edith Snitowski, along with their 18-month-old kid, were cruising through the backwoods between Clay and Braxton County on Route 4 when their goddamn car just fucking died out of nowhere. George tried to restart the car, but nothing. It's a pitch black night and the road is empty as hell. So while the Snitowskis are trying to figure out what the hell to do, this god-awful sulfur smell starts filling the air, and their poor baby starts crying like crazy. And just when they think things can't get any worse, a strange fucking bright light fills the darkness, and they see this 10-foot tall freak of nature floating in front of their car. It looks like the same damn thing from the Flatwoods incident, but this time the thing's not wearing its weird spade-shaped hood. No, this one's head looks all reptilian and fucking bony. The creepy bastard drags its nasty lizard hand across the car's hood and then just drifts the hell off into the woods. The second the thing's out of sight, the fucking car starts back up, and the Snitowskis haul ass out of there. Later, George told his wild-ass experience to Mail magazine in July of 1955. To this day, the sightings remain a cornerstone of the Flatwoods monster legend. Whether it was an alien, a cryptid, or something else entirely, one thing's for sure. Those sightings in 1952 scared the ever-living shit out of everyone who saw it. Alright folks, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what the hell people think went down in Flatwoods that night. There are two camps here. The skeptics, who think everyone's blowing smoke out their asses, and the believers who are convinced we're dealing with something straight out of a goddamn sci-fi movie. Let's break it all down. First up, the skeptics. These guys are rolling their eyes so hard they can see their own damn brains. On the night of September 12, a meteor was seen streaking across the sky in 3 states: Maryland, Pennsylvania, and, of course, West Virginia. Both Air Force officials and astronomers claimed that the object the group saw was only a meteor. The red pulsing light on the ground, which the boys saw when they arrived at the farm, was probably an aircraft hazard beacon. But what about the nightmarish creature that met the group when they tried to approach the UFO? According to them, and I say this as I'm rolling my own eyes into the back of my head, this wasn't some alien monster from outer space. Oh no, it was just a fucking owl. Specifically, a barn owl perched high in a tree with its glowing eyes reflecting light like some budget horror movie prop. The weird-ass face, that's just the owl's freaky heart-shaped mug. And the long flowing gown, shadows from tree branches swaying in the dark. Now, I know what you're thinking. How the hell does an owl turn into a 10-foot tall glowing monster? The skeptic's answer is simple. Pure, uncut panic. Imagine you're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. It's pitch black. and you're already freaked out because you saw something streak across the sky like the goddamn Millennium Falcon. Your brain's doing cartwheels, and then you see a pair of glowing eyes staring at you. Boom! Instant monster. Add some shadows, adrenaline, and overexcited children, and you've got yourself a Flatwoods monster. Speaking of panic, some people think the whole thing was just a classic case of mass hysteria. Small town folks, probably already on edge from Cold War paranoia, hear about a UFO and suddenly everyone's seeing monsters. One kid screams, another cries, and before you know it, the whole damn town's ready to call the National Guard. And let's not forget that maybe someone spiced up their story. Oh yeah, I totally saw a monster. It was 10 feet tall, had glowing red eyes, and smelled like sulfur. Cue the rumor mill, and bam, instant legend. Now, for the believers. These folks are all in on the idea that the Flatwoods monster wasn't just a monster, it was a fucking alien. And honestly, they've got a case. This happened in the 1950s, smack in the middle of UFO mania. Flying saucers were all the rage. The story goes that what the witnesses saw wasn't a meteor, but a spacecraft. And the monster? That was the pilot. The glowing red face, the hovering motion, the metallic appearance. Sounds more like an alien than an owl. And that sulfur smell? UFO enthusiasts say it's a telltale sign of alien activity. Apparently, space stinks. But wait, there's more. What if it wasn't an alien or an owl, but some top-secret government shit? Flatwoods isn't far from military installations, and the 1950s were a prime time for Cold War experiments. Maybe the glowing thing in the sky was some kind of experimental aircraft. And the monster? A robot, a prototype suit, or some classified tech that wasn't supposed to see the light of day. If the military had a crash landing in Podunk, West Virginia, you can bet dollars to donuts they'd let alien rumors fly to cover their own asses. The sulfur smell? Probably some chemical from the crash. So, was it an owl? A case of hysteria? A goddamn alien? Or some military experiment gone off the rails? Honestly, who the fuck knows? But one thing's for sure, the Flatwoods monster has stayed lodged in our imagination for over 70 years. And whether you think it's bullshit or believe every word, it's one hell of a story. Well, here we are, folks, at the end of this wild-ass ride into the bizarre-as-hell story of the Flatwoods monster. Let's just take a moment to soak in how fucking weird this whole thing is. Over 70 goddamn years later, this creepy, spooky bastard still holds a top-tier spot in UFO lore. People continue scratching their heads and asses and arguing over what the hell actually went down that night in 1952. Was it an alien just popping in to say, hey, what's up? A cryptid out for a midnight stroll? Or, and I'm rolling my eyes as I say this, a big-ass owl with a flair for the dramatic? Whatever it was, it scared the ever-loving shit out of everyone involved, and it left a mark that refuses to fade. Now, let's talk about the town of Flatwoods. Instead of brushing this whole incident under the rug and pretending it never happened, these fearless locals leaned the fuck in. They've turned this whole thing into a celebration. We're talking festivals, tourist attractions, and more Flatwoods monster merch than you can shake a stick at. It's like they said, "Hell yeah, we got a creepy monster in our backyard. Come check it out and buy a souvenir while you're here." Honestly, props to them for turning a spooky-ass moment in history into something people can enjoy. That's exactly how you embrace the weird. But here's the thing, y'all. We still don't know what the fuck happened that night. And that's the kind of shit that keeps you up at night, isn't it? Was it an alien? A cryptid? Or some overgrown owl laughing its feathery ass off at us? The truth is out there, but what do you believe? If you're digging this video, tap that like button and subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on more of my fucked up commentary. And besides, I really do appreciate it. Now, I want to hear your take on this creepy-ass mystery. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Seriously, don't hold back. And last but definitely not least, click on that join button just below the title and become part of my YouTube membership. For as little as $2.99, y'all can help a brother out more than you know. Y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You are the real beast.